Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, CRN's live coverage of the 45 minutes of Sebring, as we're here for the CSRL GT Series here at the Sebring International Raceway. And this is round number 7 as we start heading into the later stages of the season this year. Coming into tonight, it is a decent-sized lead for Craig Jancic in the points as he comes in with a 28-point lead over Noah Bourgeois. Chris Hamilton is in third, Tyler Torville, Dave Topher for your top 5 in the platinum. In the gold, Kyle Peach Kobler is your top driver in the gold. He's got a 36-point lead over Cesar Colon Torres. Christian Ortiz Torres in third, Herbert Pineda, Steve McLean for your top 5. And in the silver, it is Trent Blaylock with a mere 4-point lead over Alain Below. William Burrell, Todd Torville, and John Espada for your top 5. But here tonight, this is a track where it's not like the previous tracks we've run, where it doesn't get used that often, or is brand new like we had for Mexico. This is a track that is used probably as much as Daytona. It is one that is very familiar with these drivers. A lot of them compete in the 12 Hours of Sebring every single year, so plenty of laps out here. I expect this one to be a pretty close battle, and just taking a look at the qualifying results as it stands right now, a lot of very close times, so hopefully that means some good racing out there. Carl, we're joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, this is definitely one that is close to both of our hearts, with a few wins under the belt.
Yeah, when we can come here, ourselves and actually get some wins. I mean, multiple times, obviously, different races, different 12-hour events, different cars. It's, just one that kind of, I don't know, like it just flows. It is bumpy, and you got to watch, when you get on the gas and how that weight transfer is working out for you, because it's not real difficult to get on the gas too early, and then your car will push out into the dirt, or you get on it too late or too strong, and then next thing you know, the rear end can come around on you pretty easily. But you can see, if you ride on board with any of the drivers, you can see them getting real close to the apexes, hitting the curb just a little bit. So you want a car that can kind of do that, and I can see that the Fords are up front again, along with the Mercedes right behind them. So yeah, I mean, I know like some of our faster drivers are running the Fords, but it's just a car that, like, I was out there and I was running 201s, just breaking into the twos, high twos, myself. So it's just with the Mustang, it was just real easy. Like the curb, it would just like eat it, like almost like it was almost not there. So it was almost you had to like feel the front of the car through the wheel in order to get back on the gas and get going. But qualifying is over. I'm sure there's a few out there still wrapping things up, as they have 15 minutes here to complete their fastest lap time, and it does look like Craig Jancic will steal another pole here tonight. So another race where the drivers are going to have to chase down Craig Jancic and see if he can not make a mistake like last time.
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens in a turn 1. He had the pole last time we were here at Sebring, and Chris Hamilton started in second. Guess who's starting in second here tonight? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, little deja vu. I wonder if Craig's got a little PTSD.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes in a turn 1. But yeah, curbs are kind of a big thing here at Sebring, and you definitely want a car that can take the curbs, but not all of the curbs here are created equal. There's a lot of flat curbs you see right there, the little chicane coming out of the hairpin. You can definitely get all over those curbs, and even in the dirt over there to get through some of these corners. But some of these big curbs, some of them you actually do want to take. You want to take them to help you rotate through the corners. Others you want to avoid like the plague, especially the ones kind of setting you into the long sweeping corner down to the hairpin. You want to stay off those curbs, entering the final little part of the chicane right there. But as Jimmy said, they're finishing up with qualifying. While they do that, go ahead and take a look at the moment of the race from That was your moment of the race. I will get the our mics working. As soon as I clicked over there, I realized the mics are not set up on this replay. So you got to see it there, though. It was Renan Dilemma in the Ford Mustang trying to hold off Steve McLean and that Lamborghini at Hockenheim, and it was a heck of a good battle that Steve McLean finally won. That was late in the race, late laps, and McLean ended up getting the pass done. That was your brain farting here. Your CSS moment of the race from last week, and I want to thank everyone that made last week happen at Hockenheim. It was certainly an interesting one. I like Hockenheim. It's a track that is definitely a little different, and it's one that is some like it, some hate it. But here tonight, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans here at Sebring. Qualifying is over. Jimmy, we got our lineup here for our 29 car field. Why don't you give us a rundown?
A quick rundown of the field here tonight is going to be Craig Jancic on the pole with Christopher Hamilton on the outside. Then you got Herbert Pineda, Noah Bourgeois on row number 2, Bryce Reiner there in row number 3 with Simon. And then row number 4 is going to be Kyle Kobler with David Wells. Javi Sierra and Jason Phillips will make up row number 5. David Tilford and Cesar Colon will be there in row number 6. Row number 7, Stephen McLean that we just seen with Christian Ortiz. And then row number 8 will be Glenn Luzon with Brandon Potts. Jason Potts back in row number 9 with Jim Dutton. And then back for the rest of the field is going to be Ian Wilson and Jim Herrick on row number 10. Bill Burrell and Paul Bailey will make up row number 11. Row number 12, Michael Ray Galan and Jay Little. And then Stefan Price with Zane Bierman and Tyler Torville and Frank Pisano. All the way in the back, you can see Tyler Torville and Frank Pisano not putting in times in, so maybe going for that hard charger award here tonight.
And John Espada going to be starting shotgun on the field there in 29th as well. So we'll see who's got the hot shoe here tonight. It's certainly going to be a fun one. I expect this thing to be pretty competitive. And Jimmy, pit stops. Pit stops have been just the biggest part of a lot of these races, and certainly how good that 88 team is in the pit stops themselves. Here tonight, you can certainly gain, on the entry there, making sure you kind of really bingo that entry. But, from there, it's just getting out of the pits and getting that power down out of turn number 1 there on the outside. There's not really as much to be gained or lost compared to some tracks where it has, a long entry or a long exit. Like next week at Interlagos, we'll see a track that's got a, very quick entry that you're going to be pretty much full speed all the way up into the line. But then on the exit, you take the chicane on an access road all the way out until you get done through turn number 3. So it's certainly one that you can maybe gain a little bit more time compared to others on the exit of it. But here tonight at Sebring, it's one where you got to make sure that you're on the inside there. You got to make sure that there's nobody behind you trying to kind of diamond it and cut that corner on the inside and doesn't realize you're coming in the pits. But other than that, it's pretty easy entry compared to some.
Yeah, it's not too bad here. Just got to be careful if you're racing closely with somebody and if you're in front. Because sometimes drivers will use that inside right there, coming off the last turn through sunset, as they call it. And they hug that inside. So you just got to pay attention to your competitor behind you, or at least call it out so they know that you're going in. But yeah, we're gonna have a good one here. Obviously, you've seen it start a little rough last season, and I know they like this track because a lot of the drivers here, like you said, they run the 12-hour event here every year, and a lot of these drivers, a lot of the drivers participate. So, because with a 12-hour event, obviously half the distance of a 24-hour event, so not much more time is committed. For a race like that, so it's a little easier to do than the long endurance races that we torture ourselves with sometimes, depending on the field. But yeah, it's going to be a good one, and I think it can be difficult to pass. So that you talked about the pit stops, so it's going to be interesting, Carl. The opportunities are there to pass. It's just not the easiest place to pass.
Yeah, exactly. As we're coming through the final sectors here, and then we'll get this thing underway. Again, it's going to be Craig Jansen, Chris Hamilton on the front row as they come through the final S's here. But Just a quick correction. I believe I said the CSS moment of the race is actually DSS, Digital Sim Sports moment of the race from Hockenheim last week. So I thank Digital Sim Sports for that, and thank all the drivers out there in CSRL voting on the moment of the race. There's usually 3 clips up every week, and all the drivers vote on what they think was the best moment of the race, the one that was the most exciting, or the craziest, or maybe the craziest accident. We'll see. We haven't seen any I think big time accidents yet on the moment of the race, but I do remember a big accident last time we were here at Sebring with the man that was on the pole. Well, it was certainly, in my opinion, the moment of the race for that one, because it was big implications in the championship for that one. But we head down the backstretch, and we're going to get that green flag this time by. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Help out that YouTube algorithm and get in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. But it's time to go racing here. Round number 7 for the Casual Sim Racers League. It's going to be Craig Jancic on the left-hand side to start it out here in the 88. 64 of Chris Hamilton on the inside. Herb Pineda got in a fast late lap in his Mercedes to break up the Ford dominance at the front, but coming out of the final corner, it's time to go racing here at Sebring.
A pretty solid start here. A little bunch up there and about 5 rows back, but still looking good. Obviously looking down the inside, making it stick.
Oh, big
no.
slide. Gonna save it, keeps it on the track. That was Simon Seguin trying to get it done there, but not gonna happen, as it's still side by side at the front. Noah Bourgeois trying to take the battle to Craig Jancic as they head around through the Gurney bend for the first time. It is going to be Craig Jancic holding on to the top spot. They'll head down to the hairpin. We'll see if Bourgeois wants to mount one more charge, because he knows what happened last time that Jancic was able to get to the lead. He ended up checking out last week, as looks like the field is all going to make it to the hairpin. Not sure if everyone made it through the hairpin though. As we head through Fangio and now down into Cunningham, it is still Jancic, Bourgeois, Kobler, Hamilton, Sierra for your top 5. Now down to what I consider kind of a tricky section of the track here, the tower turn. You got to really let it drift out there, and you got to pick your turn-in point. And that's really where I struggle sometimes here at Sebring, is figuring out that turn-in point here for tower turn. But it looks like the front drivers for sure got this thing nailed, going through Bishop Bend here, through the back half of this track. A lot of S-turns, just back and forth before it heads you on to the backstretch and down to the most one of the most famous corners in GT racing and endurance racing, Sunset Bend, as we just seen. Looks like that is the 22 there, getting a little sideways. Tyler Torville heading down into Sunset for the first time, still very close here at the front. And certainly some battles back through the pack as well, but out of the final corner, Craig Jancic going to hold on to the lead for the first lap. Bourgeois going to be there in second. Kobler, Hamilton, Sierra, Phillips, Tilford, Colon, Torres, Pineda, and McLean for your top 10. But let's go ahead and take a look back at the start of this race, because it certainly got a little crazy right here at the beginning, as it sometimes does. And certainly keep an eye on the inside line there, as a good start from Simon Seguin. He sends it down to the inside there with his Mercedes and just can't get it to stick. The cold tire's not working out, and unfortunately made Chris Hamilton check up here, lost quite a few spots all the way back there in 6th to start off the race. And you see the battle right there, as Bourgeois trying to take it to Jancic, but just not enough. Jancic had the inside line at the right time there and was able to fight him off. Getting back closer to live here, we'll take a look at the second time through turn number 1. Just a little off track there from Cesar Colon Torres. Paul Bailey going through the corner. Looks like he just went a little bit wide, and little lawn maintenance. There's really not much lawn left on the outside there. It's just pretty much a dirt patch where everybody misses the exit out of that corner the way it seems. A little off-track excursion here from Zane Bierman, kind of same thing. It's kind of funny. You look at the outside of a lot of these corners, Jimmy. You got the curb, and then you got just like a rounded-off dirt patch where you see so many cars have gone through there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing about Sebring. You know, you can make a mistake. You know, you lose a lot of time, but you can make a mistake, and it won't cost your car most of the time. It's usually when people are trying to dive into corners and trying to make things work. Oh, see Bill Burrell just went around.
Burrell coming out of second last corner there. We'll take a look and see what happened to him. And it looks like the car just over-rotated on him coming out of the corner. A little brush with the wall. No meatball flag. He's going to get it back going here. Lose some track position, lose some positions as well. But for the most part, the car is clean. At the front, Jancic leads the way by 0.4 of a second as they have both checked out from Chris Hamilton, who's moved himself back up into third position. Right now, Kyle Kobler is back there in fourth. We're going to see what Jim Herrick. Take a look here. Ooh, a little bit wobbly there, as he's going to take the Aston Martin off track here a little bit. And again, Jimmy, another track, just no love for the Aston. We got two Astons out there. Right here, looking at one of them with Jim Herrick. A good-looking Aston, I will say that. There's a good-looking paint scheme on that 40, Racewear number 40. And then Cesar Colon Torres, the other lone Aston Martin out there. But again, a lot of Ford dominance here. I know we're back here in the U.S. Certainly the U.S. makes are trying to get towards the front, and that they are. I mean, right now, the top six, all Fords or Chevys, and I should say Fords or Chevy, because there's only one up there as Javi Sierra in the Corvette in fifth place right now.
The only one on the field.
Hanging on around amidst all of these Mustangs at the front. 5 of the top 6 are in Mustangs, and it looked like it was a little bit different looking at the front of the field for the start, because we had the 3 Mustangs and then we had 3 Mercedes, but obviously we've seen Simon Seguin overshoot the first corner, so he's fallen back in the pack. He's now in 11th. Bryce Reiner started up there in the top 5. He's now fallen all the way back to 16th, and Herbert Pineda started in 3rd. He's fallen back to 7th. So the Mustang, or not the Mustangs, the Mercedes falling back here a little bit at the start, but not so much for the Fords. They're back out front here for yet another race.
Yeah, speaking of car manufacturers, got one Porsche out there, got one Acura, and one BMW, and a lone Ferrari as well. So a couple Lamborghinis, yeah, McLaren.
It looks like we got 5 McLarens out there. McLaren's still getting a little bit of love, and certainly our resident BMW driver looks like did not take the green flag here tonight. Johnny Spada and the BMW did not take the green here, so not going to have a BMW in the field for the first time in quite a while, and especially with the way the BMW is getting some love lately. But here at the front, still pretty close here, as Bourgeois really harrying the 88 right now, trying to force him into a mistake, which happens very rarely, and you wonder how much right now is Craig Jancic just dictating the pace out front. I wouldn't say by too much. I mean, looking at those lap times, I know they can get into the 159s, but they're still in the low 2-minute flat range right now. Chris Hamilton with the fastest time so far with a 2-minute .16, slightly faster than your 2 leaders here, as he's trying to reel him in right now. Maybe that clean air is helping him out, but you see the battle right here for the lead, heating up, heading down to Sunset.
Yeah, big battle up front there. It looks extremely close as he's within that 1/10 area. Just I think he gets a little better. He gets Noah's getting a better entry into Sunset. And what he really needs is a better exit, because he ends up getting into a situation where he's got to lift a little bit or check up before Craig and not able to like get alongside or make that pass. But the battlefield is brewing. As always, back in P7 with Javi Sierra and Dave Tilford.
Yeah, taking a look at it right now, heading into turn number 1, and even throw in Cesar Clone Torres, the other Aston Martin out there, and another good-looking paint scheme there on the 007 as he battles to the inside here of Dave Tilford. They're going to go side by side. Good room given by both drivers right there. Now Torres is going to send it into the corner there. He's going to make the pass, complete it, but now Dave Tilford, a little bit of a crossover there, but he's going to be on the outside heading down into the hairpin. Not sure if you want to actually be there, if you'd be better off backing out, because now he could be leaving the inside open for Steve McLean heading into the hairpin, but he's going to get a good enough run off of there, and Tilford's going to at least hold on to 9th place, but to fall in behind Cesar Clone Torres, who had a little bobble there coming out, but he's going to hold on to 6th or 8th position right now, or 7th, sorry, as almost a battle here once again. So this is certainly the early race battlefield, as Jimmy likes to call it right here. I mean, you got 9th all the way back to, it looks like about 15th. They're all under a blanket right now.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's you know, somebody having a bad race, somebody having a good race that's from the back, yeah, and then you got your bulk of your field, where they're right around that same skill level. So that's why I just love watching that. You get some really good battles, and you see people learning their racecraft and trying to make passes clean. They've always been super clean here at CSRL, and it's, you know, a good place to come and, you know, race these GT3 cars. So if you're out there and would like to get behind the wheel of these GT3s, they got a pretty good schedule. They got a pretty good layout as well. Obviously, they start off with I think it's 50% fuel, so you have to make a pit stop, but you only need to make one pit stop, and if something happens, you got a fast repair, you can go in, you get fuel, get the fast repair, and you're not totally out of the race. So there's a lot of good benefits here with that kind of format. And right now, just watching kind of some of the drivers come in, did see a few come in. Jim Dutton's in, Simon's in as well, as they're down the pit, so maybe a little bit of damage. I just want to get it fixed and out of the way, and then you know, figure out to see where they can end up by the end of this race. But Craig Jancic and Noah Bourgeois still battling it up there. Only a half a second still separates those two. Battle between Kyle Cobbler and Harry Pineda, and or is that Jason Phillips? One of the two. And then McLean. That was McLean, Christian Torres, Bryce Reiner, Brandon Potts. Battle.
Yeah, we just we're watching the battle right there with Bryce Reiner getting around Brandon Potts there in at the hairpin. This is, I mean, you rode on board there with Brandon Potts for about a lap, and you got to see the bumps that Jimmy mentioned, how rough this track is. Built on a U.S. Army base, and it was built temporarily as a racetrack back in the 50s, but what was once temporary is now a permanent facility and used year-round for testing, for club racing. It's obviously the site of the 12 hours of Sebring since 1952, and also holds a 1,000-kilometer race for the World Endurance Championship the day before as well. So, heck of a weekend. I know some fellow racers that are certainly in the Sebring area have gone to the track, and even ones that are not even in Florida have gone to watch the Sebring 12-hour and even catch the kind of the doubleheader with the World Endurance Championship one day and then the 12 hours of Sebring the next day. So that sounds like a pretty entertaining weekend there, Jimmy.
Yeah, I need to move to the other side of the state.
Yes, indeed.
It's totally on the other side of the state. To get over there is probably around 8 to 9 hours, as a matter of fact. So it's quite a ways. So, and I know I say I live in Florida, but I am so close to Alabama, I could probably walk there in about half an hour to an hour. It's just that close. So just live over here in the Panhandle, and still call it Florida, I guess. But we're even in a different time zone compared to the east side of the whole state. So that's how far we're out here. So, but definitely a good one here so far tonight. Craig Jancic still holding on to that lead over Noah Bourgeois. And obviously the battlefield still going back and forth between a few drivers. As it looks like right now, Dave Tilford on that back bumper of Cesar Torres.
Good to see Todd Torville out there in the chat. Unfortunately, not here with us tonight in the car. But I'm kind of wondering, Jim. I mean, he's in Florida. So why the heck is he not here at Sebring? I know you just got that saying. Florida's a big state, but come on, you're in the state that the damn race is being held at. Figure it out. But now, either way, thank you for hopping in here, Todd, and watching and seeing. Hopefully, Tyler start moving up in that 22. He's kind of had a bit of a down season so far, and just maybe kind of getting his feet wet up here in the Platinum, trying to really battle with these guys. Maybe a little humbling here, but he's back there right now in 16th position in his Lamborghini, kind of at the back of this long battlefield here. But out front, it is still Craig Jancic, but still Noah Bourgeois right there as well. And Chris Hamilton, you see him not too far back there in the picture. 2 seconds currently right behind your leader. Kyle Kobler in 4th, Herman Pineda back now in 5th. Jason Phillips for your top 6, and Javi Sierra, Dave Tilford, Cesar Colon Torres, Stephen McLean for your top 10.
And just like typical Florida fashion, obviously the haze and humidity making it difficult for some of them farther shots. As I was floating around, jumped up in the blimp there for a second, I was like, man, all the fog. But it's typical Florida type of weather. The humidity is up and down, but as of lately, it's got a little chilly here for the past couple of weeks, and obviously a little cold front coming down through the states. So a lot of people will be having some cold nights here, just for a little while, anyways, until the heat wave comes back. But who knows? The weather's been weird ever since it snowed down here, here in Florida. So I'm hoping it doesn't do it again. It was, like I said, it was nice to see it. It was gone in a week, but it did cause a big mess. People can't drive in it, so I mean, people in Florida.
It doesn't matter if they're in Florida or not, Jimmy. People can't drive with no precipitation out there. I'm not even getting into it, but it was just a long drive home tonight, and it just irritated me with the way some people drive sometimes. I'm not saying that they got to do 20 miles an hour with the speed limit, but speed limit would be nice, not 10 miles an hour under, and that's in dry conditions. But yeah, you throw a little bit of rain out there, you throw a little bit of snow, God forbid, whew, forget it. It's a wrap. There's just so many people that should not have a license. Let's just put it that way. But these drivers out here definitely deserve their license. They deserve their racing license. Put on a great show at the front, lap after lap, just consistent lap times. Now starting to crack down under the 2-minute mark as well, with Craig Jancic doing a 1:59.99, Noah Bourgeois with a 59.92, and then Hamilton with a 59.79. So time, time's starting to come down here as we're getting a little bit later in the fuel run. And we talked about it before, Jimmy. It's certainly not like the oval cars. These cars get better and faster as the fuel burns off.
Yeah, it's amazing. And just how different the cars are. The oval cars, they get lighter and they get slower. The GT cars, they get lighter and they get faster. I mean, and even the grip's even better. So I don't get it. Obviously, I think it's because of the amount of downforce on these cars, and everything's all set up for these types of tracks. So. But either way, I mean, they're out there having fun. You can see the cars bouncing around, so there's a lot of adjustments. These drivers do fix setup, so it's not like they have to go make the setup each and every week. They just gotta drive what's provided to them by iRacing.
But it's kind of amazing. Like I know, obviously, not every tire compound is made equally, but I mean, you look at how big and beefy NASCAR tires are, and then you look at how these GT tires are. They're certainly not as big and beefy as NASCAR tires, but yet they seem to last longer. And in NASCAR, you're probably getting them hotter, driving around at faster speeds consistently, and then going through your corners. But there's only for an oval there's only 2 corners. For a quad oval there's only 4 corners. Here, you're getting 13 corners here at Sebring, whatever it might be. Either way, there's very little time that you're not turning the car and not putting load on those tires and burning off those tires. The fact that they hold on as long as they do in the run, to the point where as you burn off fuel, and all you're doing is, it's not like there's nitro at the bottom of your fuel tank. It's just lighter. But you make a car lighter in NASCAR at the end of a run as well, but the tires are just burned off. So it's kind of crazy how the tire wear happens between these different types of vehicles.
Yeah, I guess I'll never understand it. Because you think it would be somewhat close, but it's not. So, but like you said, I think the constant force to like one side with the NASCAR tires, all that weight, and I think they get hotter. These cars are shifting back and forth, using more of the tire, more left and right of the tire. They're not just pushed on the outside of one side as they have to use it. But you have certain corners where there's more rights or more lefts or more sweeping corners. So that can affect your car. And if you do overdrive the car, like you start locking them up and abusing ABS, you can find yourself in a situation where your tires are shot, and it will feel like poo. It takes a little longer to get there, but that's all on you. I mean, just like in NASCAR, the ovals, the drivers tend to see how close they are to somebody, and in order to try to get a spot, they overdrive the car, and when they overdrive the car, they wear out the tires, and if they do it too early, they can find themselves losing time over the stint before they need to go in and get new ones, or go and get more fuel. But Carl, there's a big difference between a pit stop with the GT3s and a pit stop with the NASCARs. NASCAR, you can go in, get 4 tires and a full tank of gas in like 14 seconds. You need about 35 to 40 seconds. Somewhere around like 30 seconds or so here with the GT3 cars.
Yeah, and probably one of the slowest pit stops in motor racing. I mean, because you look at Formula One, obviously they're getting 4 tires. They're not getting fuel, but they're getting 4 tires in 2 seconds. So I don't know. Maybe the hiring pool is all washed up by the time you get to the endurance racing, and the crews just suck. They're just not as fast. But good battle here between teammates in Ace Motorsports here, as Greg Pisano in the Mustang, and got close there to Tyler Torville in his Lamborghini. I'm sure Todd Torville has got his eyes on this battle, as we do right now, as it's like Tyler twice now has thought about making a late lunge there into the hairpin, but backs out of it. Going to stay in line for the time being. Meanwhile, up front, it is gone from a 2-car battle to just about a 3. It was 2 seconds last time we checked in from first back to Chris Hamilton in third. It's down to 1.3, but Jimmy, I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it again as we're coming up to the halfway point of this race. Can Chris Hamilton hang on to this battle after the pit stop?
I mean, it's I'm not a gambling man.
But your money's not going on. I can tell just by the way you're talking, and it's kind of it's a running meme at this point. But and we we hate to take shots at him, but it's really absolutely been both Achilles heels for him in these races. He's got the speed, he's got the talent, he can hang with these drivers, and right there, just setting the fastest lap of the race by a pretty good margin, by 0.3 of a second. Chris Hamilton with a 1:59.35, so he's got it in the car, but it's again, maybe he's got the bottom of the bottom when it comes to his pit crew. He's got to pay his pit crew a little bit more, or just invest in the pit crew a little bit more for these races. But it's really been the one and only thing, maybe not the only thing, but the major thing that has taken him out of a lot of these races.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is, obviously keep trying your best, and, hopefully you get the right numbers. you know, obviously with him pushing as hard as he is, he probably needs a little fuel. I don't know how much Craig is fuel saving. You can fuel save on this track and quite a few areas, or you could drive it hard and you know you end up spending about 2-3 tenths of fuel more per lap. So if you can stretch it out and save yourself some fuel, it can equal that half a second in the pits. And that's big on the track. You've seen how long it took Chris to kind of catch up after being falling behind there early on, and I would say that Chris didn't have to let up. Would Chris be in the lead right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly reeled these drivers in, and they're not exactly setting a slow pace at the front of this field here, but he has reeled them in lap after lap after lap. But how much fuel is he burning doing that as well? How much are they saving at the front? It's going to be interesting to see, because we should be coming up on pit stops within these next couple laps. Will anyone try to come in first and pull a short pit on the other two to try and get some track position? Meanwhile, Bryce Reiner moving his way back up through the field as well. Good-looking Mercedes out there. More often than not, the Digital Sim Sport teammates of Craig Jancic and Bryce Reiner in the same car. Not tonight, though. This is, I think, the first time we've seen in quite a long time that they decide on different cars, as Jancic in the Ford Mustang, but here Reiner in the Mercedes.
And Bryce isn't having the season that he had last season, so maybe mixing it up just a little bit, try and get his confidence back. Go with a car that he feels more comfortable with, and try to be able to push it just a little bit harder and get himself a great finish. Already in the top 5, so not too bad. Has a little ways to go to catch up to Herbert Pineda, basically off on his own there. Dave Tilford having a good run too, right behind Bryce Reiner, so just within that second range there. So it could be Dave pushing it here soon too. If Dave can get a great pit stop, he can find himself up in that top 5 here late for this race. But we are 25 minutes in, Carl. We're over halfway through. Craig Jancic still is out front, with being tailed very closely by Noah Bourgeois and Chris Hamilton. Got Herbert Pineda, like we said, back there in 4th. Bryce Reiner's in 5th. You got Dave Tilford, Cesar Torres, Stephen McLean, Christian Ortiz Torres, and Frank Passano, your biggest move of the race so far, in 10th.
Once again, I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in tonight. If you haven't done so, hit that like and subscribe. Help the YouTube algorithm get this video up there for CSRL. See if we get any pit stops this time by. Looks like they're slowing up, and sure enough, we're going to see the top 3 all come in together. But it's not the entry that I'm worried about, Jimmy. It's the exit and how long these drivers are going to be in their pit stalls. Looks like Herbert Pineda going to come in as well. Bryce Reiner going to stay out. He's going to lead a lap here, and then he will come in to make his pit stop. But he looks like to be the only one up here in the top 10 as the Ortiz Torres coming in. It's like Frank Pisano is going to come in as well. So only one so far staying out for that extra lap is Bryce Reiner. So how's this going to play out for him in the long run? Meanwhile, taking a look at the exit of the pits, and how about this, Jimmy? We still got a 3-car battle.
So the battle is still there between these 3 drivers, and Noah had a pretty good pit stop. I almost got to the point where he was almost side by side with Craig. Backed out just a little bit, but I don't think Noah's going to back down too much here. He's going to push Craig to the limits. Obviously, Chris is right there on the bumper as well, so maybe just hoping that those two will entangle into a little debacle and make it easy on Chris here, but finds himself in 3rd place right now still, or well, 4th place at the moment, as Bryce Reiner is your current leader this time.
Yeah, should see Mercedes AMG come in on this lap. For the most part, everybody came in on laps 11 through 13, but we did have an early pit stop there for Simon Seguin, who started up there in 6th place, but had a heck of a run and a turn number 1. It didn't work out too well for him, but He is back now in 12th position, hoping to try and make his way back up through the field, certainly running faster laps than a lot of his competitors around him, just passing in a little rough form right now. As back to Bryce Reiner heading down to Sunset here. Again, should see him coming into the pits this time by, and will shuffle the lead back to Craig Jancic with Bourgeois and Hamilton, all three within a second of each other. And there it is, Bryce Reiner now back into the pits. So put our eyes back on the battle we've been watching here, and this time Hamilton doesn't need to overcome a 2-second gap. He's within 1.2 of your leaders heading into Sunset here on the outlap. Now, who can get those tires fired back up quickly enough? Looks like it should be back up to temp already by the end of this lap. Not taking new tires on that pit stop. They'll pass Bryce Reiner in the pit lane right now. They're back to your top three. Let's see where Herbert Pineda is coming out of the final corner. And it's going to be tight as Bryce Reiner coming out of the pits. So Herbert Pineda right there on your right. He will retake 4th position. Kyle Kobler is going to slap back in to 6th. As, yeah, it looks like Reiner is going to get out. He's going to get those tires plenty up the temperature before any kind of battle with Kobler. But at the front, it is still Jancic, Bourgeois, Hamilton for your top 3, Pineda, Bryce Reiner rounding out your top 5, Kobler, Phillips, Tilford, Colon Torres, and Sierra for your top 10. We're going to go ahead, step aside for a moment, let these engines fire off here, and take a listen to all the different sounds of the makes and models here for CSRL GT, and give you a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
Sights and sounds here from the CSRL GT Series round number 7, and you see the battle for the lead. I'd say it's heating up, but I mean, it's been hot since the beginning of this race. It's now fully, officially a 3-car battle. All three throw them under a blanket, 0.7 of a second separating the top 3. Definitely the best battle on the track, but it's not the only battle. If we look back here at Cesar Torres trying to get the pass done on Christian Ortiz. Torres is the battle for 12th and 13th. And one of the lone Aston Martins, actually the lone Aston Martin still in the field here tonight, going to make the pass here around the outside of the hairpin. Not exactly easy, but he will have the inside here for the next corner. But looks like Cesar Torres is going to have his hands full. Christian is not going to give this thing up. Now he's finally going to pull back in line. Another battle back a little bit further in the pack is Len Lizan trying to catch up to Brandon Potts right in front of him, and the McLaren, the top runner McLaren right now. But the love to hear it off the screen here, we'll show you the top running drivers in each of the classes. Jancic still leading the way at the front. Pineda is your top running gold driver in 4th. Simon Seguin is your top running rookie. And then we got, I'm trying to see where Seguin is. He's in 10th place right now. And then the silver class being led by Jason Potts right now in 18th. So good job by these drivers, but I mean, it's come to a head here, Jimmy. It is the last 6 minutes of this race. Who you got?
Yeah. Right now, I'd say Craig Jancic. It is tough to pass on this track. Somebody's going to have to drop a set to make a move here very soon, as they probably only got about 3 laps remaining, Carl. About 2 minutes a lap, with 6 minutes, remaining. Maybe this one and 2 more, or this one and 3 more, or whatever it may be. But they're definitely running out of time here at Sebring, and it's been a good one. A few minor incidents throughout the field. Obviously, a close one early on for some of the drivers, but Simon being able to kind of claw his way back up into the top 10 after all the pit stops. And I said, and that's what I was saying earlier about the format here at CSRL. And if you're out there watching, or if you're thinking about racing with CSRL or want to race with CSRL, obviously you just need to look up Jim Dutton and the gang here, or let us know and we'll get you in touch with the admins. But we talked about a little bit just it happened last season with that turn 1, so it was almost a close call for a few, and they were able to come back from that. But biggest move of the race right now, Carl, is it's all tied up between Tyler Torville and Frank Pisano in 14th and 15th.
Yeah, back to back as well. As we have Tyler Torville right here, and then right behind him is Frank Pisano. We've seen them doing battling earlier, and that pass finally from Tyler Torville is what puts him tied with Frank Pisano plus 13 here on the race. So good job by both of them working their way up through the field. That's a little wide right there, as seen some debris flying off the front, like the front of the 11 there. But go back to the front of the field. Keep an eye on the leaders, as we're down to 4 minutes left in this race. Probably another 2 laps, maybe 3, depending on when they hit the lines here. And a good run through the sweeper here, heading down to the hairpin, and a little fake out there from Bourgeois as he looked to the inside but fell back in line here, maybe trying to see if he can set something up there. Certainly Hamilton is just sitting back there waiting. He's got to be happy just to be up here in the mix with a chance at the win here. It's been quite a bit since we've seen Hamilton up here late in the race with a chance at the win. And especially this season, it seems like it's been a season a bit of some runaway wins. We've seen a few by Bourgeois. We've seen last week with Craig Jancic just walking away with the win. But here tonight, it's been anything but. It's been a little bit of a throwback to the great days of, I think it was last season or the season before, where it seemed like week in and week out, it was a 4-car battle for the win.
Yeah, I mean, last season they had its ups and downs and a lot of close thrillers there for the end for these leaders. But shout out to all the drivers out there. Obviously, battle one back throughout the field. As obviously coming down to the end of the race, so we'll see who wins, especially with them driving this close together. But some other battles back there, you know, Tyler Tollville and Jason Phillips. So I mentioned those drivers along with Glenn Lazon has been pretty quiet today here. So some great battles on the field. But it does look like, I don't know.
A white flag that time by.
No
Yeah, just seen Marty there. Either that or Marty fell asleep. I don't know what's going to keep this guy awake. If this doesn't keep him awake right here. But yeah, I didn't see a white flag that time by, so we should have 2 laps to go now. And they're catching up to a little bit of lap traffic here as well. Will this play a part? Will the lap traffic get out of the way? We're about to find out because it's not just one car.
But maybe it's going to be a bad spot, especially with 3 of them coming.
Yeah, there's a few cars here, and we'll see how this thing plays out. But right now, Jancic still has the lead, 0.3 of a second back to Bourgeois, another 0.4 of a second back to Hamilton. The lap car's getting bigger in the windshield here, and I'm sure we haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure Jancic is going to be hammering on the flashers to try and get them out of the way. And there it is. There it is. It's definitely get out of the way, please. I got enough in my rear view. I don't need anything in my windshield.
And they're coming up on, I believe that's Zane going. And Zane's been, he's still learning. So obviously skill level is a little low and they're coming down to a pretty technical spot. And these 3 drivers are coming, and this could be the area where Bourgeois takes advantage of, you know, or Jancic maybe having to check up just a little bit for Zane Bierman. So going wide to set this up here, it does look like they're going to be able to run down the other side of the track. We'll see if Zane Bierman, you know, he's going to pull it off to the side there, allow them drivers to go on by. And obviously when you're not in the battle, that's what you need to do. And try to stay out of the way of the leaders. You know, you're not in a battle yourself, so there's no reason to fight.
Well, speaking of fight here, Jimmy, not to stop you, but white flag in the air, and here is the best fight as he's got the best run of the race so far. That is Noah Bourgeois. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but a great run through Sunset and still tight to the back bumper. Will he make a move into 3? No, he's going to stay in line. So was that opportunity possibly missed here for Bourgeois? Heading to the white flag here as he's going to settle back in line now, starting to lose a little bit of time. Now gaining it back here, heading down towards the hairpin. This could be maybe his last shot, certainly maybe a shot down into Sunset yet. But Bourgeois very close here, heading down to the hairpin. He's going to look down to the inside, battle for the lead. He sends it long and deep, though. Unfortunately, it's going to be a crossover for Jancic back to the lead. Hamilton gets closer now to the back of Bourgeois. Will he have an opportunity here to try and make a pass and have a chance at the win? Still Jancic, Bourgeois, and Hamilton here on the final lap. Great move, but he just sent it a little bit too far, a little bit too late on the brakes, and Jancic read him like a book and just slowed up, crossed it back over, right back to the lead. But now another lap traffic here in front. How is this going to play out? Doesn't look like he's getting out of the way here too easily. So this could be heading down to Sunset here for the final time. I'm not sure where the lap car went, but I think maybe he did get out of the way after all. Yeah, but here we go. One more passing opportunity for Bourgeois. Can he get a good rotation out of the corner? Last time, last chance. The time is coming down. He's got the draft. He's trying to reel him in. It's down to a quarter second, but it would take a Herculean effort here into Sunset to try and get this thing done. He's going to look to the inside, trying to get the rotation. Sends it to the inside. Last turn, last lap pass. Will we have it here for the win? Bourgeois hanging it out there, and what a win for the 5 here tonight. Gets it done on the final corner, final lap. That's what you love to see right here. Jancic's going to have to settle for second. Hamilton in third. Oh boy, Jimmy. welcome to a track that all these drivers are going to be close. I called at the beginning of the race that it's going to be a good one, it's going to be a tight one, but you never know really how these things are going to play out. I know all these drivers have a lot of laps, a lot of experience here, but oh my, that was even better than I even expected.
Yeah, Bourgeois really drove the Sunset probably as much as one could push a car, almost to the point where almost you could lose it, but because he went in there so fast and the car got pretty tight and he had to get that car rotated around just barely, taking away the racing line from Jancic. So I mean, it was, yeah, that was pretty much his only move left for the race, and he missed his opportunity going down in the first hairpin. And you know, you question, you know, obviously coming down through 3, but that section right there through 1, 2, and 3, it's really a tough place, and it's better to try to get that run down into that hairpin underneath the bridge, and that's what he did. Wasn't able to get it to stick there, but kept us cool, kept the car, and you know, like you said, was able to get it back, and just you know, obviously alley-oop and one more chance to try to get that win. And you know, could have ended badly for Bourgeois, you know, if he wouldn't have been able to hold on to it, but he was able to get that car rotated and in front of Jancic to slow him up just that little bit and give him the edge here to the end for a great finish. So congratulations, man. That's one great way to see a race finish. Not, you know, nobody was wrecking nobody, just clean, hard racing.
Yeah, and I'm going to put out there right now to all the racers here in CSRL, if that right there is not voted as the moment of the race, shame on you, because that was absolutely epic, and the whole lap right there was the moment of the race. But it was done there by Bourgeois, but I think maybe he learned a little bit in the hairpin with the crossover from Jancic, because you see him once he dove to the inside there, he got position on Jancic, but made sure he woed up the car enough that Jancic couldn't just cut right back underneath him, and you see when Jancic got back under, he didn't have a good enough run because he had to kind of woe up enough to get underneath him. So maybe learned a little bit from that book that got read in the hairpin, but Bourgeois going to get it done here tonight. We'll take a look at our final results. Jimmy, while I catch my breath and get these drivers up here for their much-deserved interviews here tonight, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's final results?
Okay, well, I still have the list up as my. I have to do a quick update from the next race. But I have Noah Bourgeois, Craig Jancic, Chris Hamilton for your top 3. Then Hira Pineda, Bryce Reiner, Kyle Kobler, Jason Phillips, Dave Tilford, Javi Sierra, Simon Seguin, Stephen McLean, Cesar Torres, Tyler Torville, Christian Ortiz-Torres, Frank Pisano, Brandon Potts, Glenn Lazan, Jason Potts, Jim Dutton, Ian Wilson, Michael Ray Galan, Jay Little, Bill Burrell, Zane Bierman, Stefan Price, Dave Wells, Paul Bailey, Jim Herrick, and John Espada. He was able to at least register for the race. Biggest move of the race, though, tonight was the number 22 of Tyler Torville in P13.
Yeah, Torville up 14 spots as he got one extra spot there from Christian Ortiz-Torres at the end to give him that one extra spot edge over Frank Pisano. But what an epic finish here, and I mean, just trying to collect my thoughts here at everything that just went down. I mean, epic finish here, as we'll get our top driver in each of the classes in here, and that's going to be Noah Bourgeois here in the platinum, winning it overall. We got Turbo Pineda in the gold. And then Jason Potts, we'll get a chance to talk to him as well. It's been a while, I think, since we talked to Jason here as the top finisher in the silver class. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in here tonight. This was a banger for sure, and a fantastic race. But we'll also get to talk to Tyler Torville with the Chris Burrell Hard Charger Sandbagger Award. So maybe Todd can throw some shade at him for that. But once again, I mean, fantastic race, exactly what you want to see here at the end. And I put on a great race. I want to thank also Ace Motorsports for the sponsorship for the fastest lap of the race. Trying to see who that was. I believe it was Chris Hamilton. Yeah, it was Chris Hamilton with a 1:59.349 fastest lap of the race here tonight. Sponsored by Ace Motorsports. But want to thank our other sponsors here as well. And trying to get it up here. There we go. All right, so sponsors here tonight's 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing those the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. For Modern PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take that same methodology at Martin. From the engine PC to the chassis rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter, you deserve components that match your desire to compete. We got two of our top three here, just waiting for Jason Potts for the third one here, and looks like trying to see and make sure. Yeah, it looks like he should be the one in here as the top finishing silver. Well, let me take a look through the order here one more time in case I missed somebody. But yeah, it looks like Jason Potts should be the top silver. Maybe it's kind of catching him off guard there. But either way, we'll get our top three in here, and we're going to start with our top finishing gold driver here tonight. Jimmy, we'll give you the first interview since I know you got to get out of here quicker, and we'll let you talk to our top finishing gold driver here tonight. Fourth place is going to be Herbert Pineda in the 99.
Hey, Herb, it's Jimmy and Carl from the booth. Copy.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh, not too bad. Hey, pretty solid run there here tonight to take the overall gold position and get yourself some much needed points here for your championship. But give us a little rundown on how everything was. It looked a little chaotic there right from the rip, but you're able to kind of keep things going and get yourself a solid finish.
Yeah, well, turn one there, I was carrying too much speed, and if I didn't take it tight like that, I was going to slam into Craig, and that would not have been good. So started sliding, so I slid the entire track, and thank God I didn't take anybody out, and nobody took me out. So thank God for that. But overall, satisfied, happy. I mean, and then I just kept the pin, and I was able to make some moves and passes, and so yeah, I came back.
Yeah, we're definitely. I know a lot of people aren't a stranger here at Sebring for sure. How many of endurance events have you completed here yourself?
Well, I've been in the service 6 years, so yeah, quite a bit. Quite a bit. But it's always interesting. It's always track temps and track conditions and all that, so that's what makes it fun. And it seems that every season there is a dominant car, and for the past couple of seasons has been the Merc and now the Ford. So pretty happy with it.
Well, you walk away with a great finish and obviously a good points night here. So I want to say congratulations and on the awesome run here at Sebring, and give you a little time for any shots you may have in your car.
Yes. Well, thanks to my wife for putting up with my craziness and my hobby. Shout out to my son, who in a couple of weeks he's heading down to boot camp to Paris Island. So gas speed and the guys over at Ace Motorsports, you guys for broadcasting and all the admins here at CSRL, top-notch league, and we'll see what we do next week over in Interlagos, and hopefully we'll do good there too.
I wish you the best of luck, as Interlagos is one of my favorite tracks as well. So, I mean, you guys are knocking them out and picking them up and knocking them out for the tracks that are running my wheelhouse for sure. So, congratulations on the win. Thanks for the shout outs, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family. All
right, guys. Have a good night. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Your top finishing gold class driver here tonight, Herb Pineda in the 99. And coming on with the top 5 as well, finishing up there in 4th position. Top spot here in the silver, Jason Potts. Looks like he was, surprised or just didn't even realize it himself, already shut down the computer. So we're not going to have a chance to talk to him tonight. So we finally had a chance to talk to Jason, and he doesn't even want to talk to us. So all right. Well, we see how it is. I guess we'll wait till he gets it done here again. But now, didn't realize that he was a top silver class driver here tonight, but he did have a good run there, finishing in 18th position. So we'll go to our top spot here overall, and that is going to be Noah Bourgeois in the number 5 Noah. Heck of a run here once again. It was a 3-car battle. I know you've only been around the scene here in CSRL for a little bit, but it was definitely a throwback for us because we had some seasons where it seemed like every race it was a 3-4 car battle at the front, and you guys put on a heck of a battle here tonight. And man, you saved it till the last lap to give us some major fireworks.
Oh, I still can't believe it, honestly. I was fully set into this race, content with second place, because I figured that for sure Craig, based on what I seen in practice the other day, that he was going to be flying. Then I seen Chris was flying too, so I was really thankful that Herbert had that little moment in turn 1 to let me by Chris, or else he probably would have blew our doors off. And honestly, I knew I was third fastest here. I was perfectly content with just riding Craig's bumper that whole race and trying to hold on for the pit stop and holding on for the last lap, because I knew if I made a move too early, he was going to make another move back on me, because he was definitely faster than me tonight. But it stuck somehow in that last corner, and shout out to Craig for having a clean finish, and shout out to Chris too, because honestly I think he had pity for me just to let me fight with Craig the whole time, because he was flying.
I think he was probably waiting for you guys to mix it up a little bit and just kind of walk right by you guys. But we'll take a look at each of the passes on the last lap kind of individually here and break it down. So certainly the first time you try to make a pass there in the hairpin, you send it in there late braking, but maybe a little bit too late and kind of overshot the corner a bit.
Yeah, honestly, my original plan going into that whole last lap was, I was thinking the whole time, okay, Craig's going to expect me to dive it in the last corner, so I have to try and surprise him a little bit. And, I mean, he was defending properly the whole time, so I think he was expecting a dive bomb at any point. But that hairpin, I figured I'd just try and push him a little wide, but he read me like a book and just crossed me over, and I had to replan my whole strategy.
It's exactly literally what I said word for word in the broadcast, that he read you like a book on that one. But even before that, You had a great run out of Sunset coming to the white flag, and you got as close as we've seen all race to the back bumper. Was there any thoughts of sending it on turn 1, or did you think that was just going to be a little bit too early in the lap to make that move?
Well, I seen he was fading to the left a little bit. It was almost like he was anticipating it. So I figured I would try and just compromise his entry into 1 by like peeking on his outside, and then kind of just seeing where the chips fall on the exit of turn 1 into turn 2 and 3. But he played it phenomenally. It took everything that I had in me to get it in that last corner. And yeah, like I said, I still can't believe it worked.
Well, it certainly did, but yeah, that last corner, we'll talk about that now. Did you learn anything from the book that you gave Chris at Craig at the hairpin there, that he was maybe going to look for the crossover again? I know you dove it down to the inside, but it looked like he kind of checked up a little bit mid corner, not just to kind of keep the rotation, but maybe kind of protect from that crossover.
Oh yeah, that was 100% what I was trying to do. I wanted to make sure when I was gassing up, he wasn't able to peek it on the inside at that pit wall there. So I just had to slow it down as hard as I could. Honestly, I was expecting him, once I slowed it up on the inside, to try and shoot on my outside. But I think he was fully prepared for the crossover and just wasn't expecting me to park it like I did. So it just... oh man, just worked out just perfect for me for once.
It worked out perfect for us too. Trust me, that was fantastic, and I may have to refine my voice for the second broadcast that I have here tonight. But it was a fantastic final lap for you guys. Congrats again on the win here. It was one that you had to work for. It wasn't one that Craig walked away and lapped the field. It wasn't one where you just got out there and just dominated. You guys battled each other this entire race. So thank you for the great spectacle here tonight at Sebring. But mainly, congrats on the win. Before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Shout out to everyone at CSRL and CRN for putting on these great events, and Awesome league, awesome broadcast. Everything that you guys do is amazing work. Shout out to my girlfriend once again for letting me go on these Wednesday nights and do my thing with everyone here. Shout out to my boys at FMR Motorsports. Kyle had another nice result, and my buddy Al, unfortunately, has been away the past couple races because he's gone to work across the country. So he's sacrificing a little bit of his championship in silver, unfortunately, but hopefully he'll pick up right where he left off once he gets back. And yeah, that's about it for tonight.
Well, once again, congrats on the win here tonight. Hopefully you can maybe reel in a little bit of points in the points battle and take it to him here once again at Interlagos. But take some time to celebrate this one and maybe catch your breath like I'm going to as well. And we'll see you next week at Interlagos.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Hopefully I'm talking to you next Wednesday.
Absolutely, buddy. That is your winner here tonight. The 5 of Norbourgeois saved it to the last lap, last corner to get it done in Sunset. Top driver when it comes to passing all the cars, or maybe when it comes to sandbagging the most, is going to be the 22 of Tyler Torville. Tyler, we get to talk to you finally here this season, but maybe not exactly for what you wanted. You didn't get a class win or anything like that, but you did get the Chris Burrell Hard Charger Sandbagger Award here tonight.
Yeah, let's call it what it is. It's the Sandbagger Award.
we'll put the image up there for everyone, just so everybody knows what you did here tonight. So why don't you talk to us about your race? Because, I mean, all jokes aside, you know, even if you were sandbagging and not starting here at the front of the field, like we know you can, you still have to make it through this field, and there's a lot of spots here on Sebring where it's very tight. And to me, there's really kind of only 3 passing zones. You got maybe into turn number 1, you got the hairpin, and you got Sunset as well. So, you know, how was it trying to make your way through this field and pass 14 cars here tonight?
Look, I was gonna come in here and just, oh man, I was trying to do the best I could during quali, and I just couldn't control the front end. I kept getting off tracks, but I mean, I really wanted the challenge. It's fun, working through the traffic. You know, there's a lot of, you know, good drivers throughout the entire lineup. You know, some may be faster than others or slower than others, but there's still, you know, competition to get by them or get through them. The challenge is fun though. So I mean, you know, I enjoyed it.
Well, we certainly enjoyed this entire race, and I said to Jimmy before the race, this is a track, you know, on this schedule that a lot of drivers have plenty of experience at. It's probably maybe the almost the second most important and most driven track compared to Daytona on any schedule. So I'm sure a lot of drivers have plenty of laps out here, and I expected it to be a good, tight, hard-fought race. We certainly seen that at the front. I know, unfortunately, you didn't get to take part in that, but you clearly had plenty of battles yourself, moving up 14 spots here tonight.
Yeah, well, I was hoping to finish at least top 10, and I probably could have done it, but if you recall, towards the beginning of the race, I had a spin,
Yes. Yep.
and I went back and looked at it, and it was that freaking net code. It'll get you. So that's a bummer. That kind of set me back a little bit, but you know, regardless, it was fun, a fun race and fun time getting up as high as I could in the standings.
We just kind of figured, you know, we've seen it from a lot of drivers when it comes to the Sandbagger Award winner, that, you know, they have a mistake early on in the race, and we all kind of look at it as, we realize you're better than where you qualified, whether you qualified or not, and you don't want it to look so bad to, oh no, I really suck at this track. Oh no, I just spun out. Oh no, yeah, we know what happened. We know you're sandbagging here tonight, and you ran through the field. So, well, either way, congrats on the top 15 here. I know you wanted a little bit more, but either way, good job working your way through the field and passing 14 cars here tonight. Before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to? I know Todd's out there, I'm sure, watching you.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, thanks to you guys, everyone here at CSRL, Dad, hey Dad, you know, my wife, my daughter, my whole family, and everyone at Ace Motorsports. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats here once again. We'll let you go and celebrate. We'll see you next week at Interlagos, and hopefully maybe talk to you for something a little bit better than the Sandbagger Award.
Oh, definitely.
That is your 13th place finisher here tonight, but it is going to be the top finisher when it comes to sandbagging here, as Tyler Torville comes home up 14 spots here tonight. I want to thank everyone out there again for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that we have to offer. We're not done yet for tonight, as me and Jimmy are gearing up now for our second broadcast as we head over to the Coliseum. We're going to head cross country here. Luckily, there's, the time zones. We can maybe save a little bit of time flying out there. But, oh, by the way, that's going to start up pretty much right now. But we got the clash for the season opener for the Pit Road Speed Limit Racing Series. So if you're not done with racing, we're certainly not. Come on over and check us out for that one. But for myself and Jimmy from the Sebring International Raceway, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.